coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to the classroom. Today we're taking a look at part 2 of the 6-part series of the Empowering Modern Learners document, which was put out by the Peel District School Board. Today's topic, Informative Assessment. Informative assessment is defined as follows. Informative assessment guides every part of the learning process. Deep, lasting learning is achieved when a transparent and equitable approach to assessment is used. Active involvement of learners in the assessment process connects them with their learning and fosters reflection and a drive to learn more. Providing multiple and varied ways for learners to demonstrate learning and make their thinking visible allows for continuous, ongoing feedback. So how do board games fit into assessment then? Well, I'd like to tell you that every one of the games that I have on the table here before me today, I have used in my classroom in one way or the other, whether it was during an actual language or math period, or during board game club, or during some other time where I actually was able to get assessments from them. So let's just take a moment and discuss some of the things that make board games great tools for assessment. First off, one thing that can really hamper a student's ability to perform, particularly if you give them like a pencil and paper test, is their own anxiety. Sometimes students will become so anxious during an evaluation of some form that they actually do worse than they can do when they're under more relaxed conditions. The great thing about a board game is it takes a lot of that stress away and they are just having fun. And while they're playing and having fun, you can then assess them in what they're doing. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be even playing. You could be, circling between a few centers and watching things that are happening, making notes as you go. But reducing that stress level, reducing that anxiety will help the students to perform at their optimal level and will allow you to see the full extent of what they're capable of. The second thing is that rather than just being an abstract idea sometimes, like tell me what these two numbers add together to, just because I want you to see if you can do it, by playing games, they are now applying those math skills, those language skills, those whatever skills, to the situation provided within the game, to the framework and the context provided by the game. So it suddenly becomes a more realistic situation, it's more meaningful to them, and therefore they're more motivated to do it as well. One thing I like to do when I'm playing games with the kids is I will model talking out loud the ideas myself. And I certainly encourage them to talk out their ideas too. A great example of that was when we played Love Letter. And for those who don't know Love Letter, it's a very small game, just 16 cards in the deck. And it's great for teaching probabilities. And I have them, as they're playing their cards and making their decisions as to what they're going to be doing in the game, I have them talk it out loud. And that way I'm able to hear their thoughts and be able to assess them based on their thoughts. And again, I will, when I'm first setting this up, I will be in the groups with them. I will sort of circulate between the groups and I will play with them to then model the expectations of that for them. So those are some ideas of things you can do while you're playing. Some things you can also do after the fact. There's things that you can do afterwards that can provide some assessment opportunities in a written form. First off, what you might do is take one of the existing games that you have and have the students modify it in some way. Tell them to take the rules of the game and to change it up a little bit and to explain how they're modifying it to maybe simplify it for a younger student or to add an extra level of challenge for somebody who maybe finds it too simple. By modifying the game and explaining their thinking, they will be able to demonstrate some of the understanding of the core concepts of the game and therefore be able to show the knowledge and understanding that you're looking for. The second thing that you can do with them is to create a strategy guide. So the students can make a not to redo the rules, but to actually discuss strategies of what they do to win and maybe help other students who are new to the game or maybe not successful at the game, what kinds of things could they do to win. By doing this, they need to demonstrate a really solid understanding of the mechanics and the rules of the game, but also of the core concepts behind it, whether it's the math involved or the language skills involved, and then that can then help to show you what it is that they know. It provides you with a solid assessment. The last one you could do is you could create a scenario within a game. Going to make this something a little more universal, something hopefully more of you understand, and that would be something like blackjack. In blackjack, you have to make sure that your cards, the total values of your cards, do not go over 21. You want to get as close to 21 without going over 21. So if you had the cards before you and you were showing 19, well, obviously, if that was the question, I'm giving you this scenario. If you have 19, would you want to hit on that? Would you want to get another card added to that total? Well, obviously not. I mean, I think anybody who gets an extra card on 19 is really pushing their luck. So you would stay there. And so within any of these other games, you could create a more complex example within any one of these games, which would give the students an opportunity to not only demonstrate the understanding of the game, which isn't the point, but the understanding of the math behind the game or the language behind the game or something. And in this way too, you can create a however complex of a situation that you want. So you could create one situation for some of your higher level students and maybe a simpler situation for some of your lower level students, and then that way you can control the variable of what assessment piece that you're giving them to make sure that they all have the equal opportunity to demonstrate their understanding within the game context. And so when we're assessing the skills that are presented during the play of a board game as well, we're not only just going to be looking at curricular skills. It's not just going to be the math, the science, the language. We can also assess a lot of the things within the learning skills portion of a student's curriculum as well, in such as their collaboration and their cooperation, and just how do they socialize and get along with other people, and the ways that they speak to others, and taking turns, and all of these things that we need to learn to do as responsible adults, and we can sort of see and coach them in any of those areas where we may feel they may be lacking, or to show them as an example for when they're being exemplary in something. It gives us an opportunity to assess some of these skills which may not show in other situations, in a normal classroom setting, may not show as clearly. And so that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you have any questions about what I was talking about today, please leave me a message in the comment section below. Always love to hear from the viewers. If you have any questions about the Empowering Modern Learner document or would like to get more information, you can always check it out. It's on the Peel District School Board's website. And as I said, on Twitter, you can join hashtag Peel21st or hashtag EML. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, I'm Craig Thompson with the Board Game Teacher saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all.